Minus Village Productions.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Off Script. Here we are again. If you are enjoying our podcast, let us know and say hello. But we are here with myself, Lloyd, and him. He's
Hello.
here too.
What are we talking about today, Lloyd?
We're going to be talking about a bit of theatre today.
A bit of theatre. I love theatre.
Yeah. I love theatre.
No, but I think theatre might actually be my favourite medium of performance.
Really?
Yeah, quite easily, to be honest. I think it's one of those mediums that it really grabs you. You know, I think, and actually, it takes me on to my first talking point that I want to address, is that when you're on the stage, the audience are a live participant, right? They are as much, or at least in my opinion, they are as much a part of the performance as the set. And they can completely change how your show goes. And I love that. So sometimes you might get a show where the audience gasp or, make noises and laugh. Sometimes, you could do pantomime where they get really involved and, or they might stand up in the middle of after a scene and give you a round of applause. And that can break up, and each night is different. It's not like TV and film where you record it a few times, different ways every time, and then just pick the best one. Stage, because of that live sort of dynamic, it really, every night can be a different show.
Yes, it can.
Just the way that you deliver a line and your partner on stage takes that line that night, or someone might just happen to embellish a line. It can completely change how the audience perceive it.
I think you're right. I think it's so sort of it's so natural in a way without it can be natural and be unnatural at the same time, in the sense that when you take that line, for me, it's personally it's instinct how I then respond to that line, and then that the scene builds from there. If you said to me, "Hi, how are you?" I would react entirely different to if you'd said, "Hi, how are you?"
I think it's. I mean, for both the actors and the performers, really. I think theatre is fairly intimate. I think that's how I describe it, and I think for me that makes that intimacy, whether that makes you feel joy, happiness, or if we look at Brecht, I know we've mentioned it a few times, but the whole point of Brecht is to make you feel uncomfortable, and sometimes I'm down for that. Sometimes sometimes you go and you're like, "Oh, didn't like that." Sometimes you go and you're like, "Oh, I really enjoyed feeling uncomfortable because it made me think of something different." It made me really feel like I was a fly on the wall. And I think ultimately that's what theatre's about.
Well, I agree. I think it's also about proximity. Depends on whether you're doing it in a big theatre or you're doing it in a studio. If the audience is right in front of you, you can really, you can get in they can get in your heads and see you right up close. But that being said, though, if you're working in a big theatre, it's entirely different to film and television, because everything is so much bigger.
Yeah.
Whereas on screen, it's so much smaller.
Well, and you've also got to consider, right, the different ways that a stage can be laid out. We can have a catwalk, we can have a typical stage, we can do in the round. There's so many different ways, and people, all right, typically it's a normal stage, but people can get creative. I went to go see, years back now, I went to go see Annie the musical, and I'm not wholly a massive fan of Annie. I enjoy it, but I don't go wild for it. But it was in the round, and that was an experience. I really, really enjoyed it. I couldn't tell you too much about it because it was a fair few years ago and I can't really remember, but I remember how it made me feel, and I remember the fact that I felt when they're singing, once again, I'm not a massive Annie fan, so I can't remember the song. Stuff like that. But like, it's when the orphans are all, you know, orphans, and Annie hasn't been picked yet. You know, she hasn't been snatched up by Daddy Warbucks. But like,
It's the collection box. God.
but no, they're on the streets. You know, they're all together. You know,
Are you
and-
confusing Annie with Oliver?
No, like, it made me feel like I was in
Stop,
the
consider yourself in it. It's Oliver, right?
down. I know that's Bugsy Malone. Sorry. I was just saying other musicals.
Down. Isn't that Bugsy Malone?
It's Bugsy Malone. It's the.
Oh my god. We
yeah.
talking about Annie.
Sorry, you raised a new musical, so I was like, I've got to up the ante and just go another random musical.
Right.
Like that. That's where we were at. But no, like,
Right,
going back to my
Annie's
original point, I went to go see Annie in the Round, and it really made me feel a bigger connection to the kids, which I think in other adaptations, the kids aren't really sort of emphasized. They're not really seen. It's Annie and Daddy Warbucks, whereas in this performance, I felt really bad for the kids who didn't get picked. You know?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that sucks.
They were there, didn't they?
Because I'm next to them. they're over there, you know. And I think, I think that's where, to boil it down, I think that's where my love of theatre sort of comes from, that feeling connected to it. And obviously I'm talking from an audience point of view, but, and there's a few things that I can say from an actor's point of view on stage, but and you were talking about it's different in a large theatre. Like, from, if you were stood on stage, right? What's the biggest difference to being because you know you've done TV shows. What's the biggest difference to being on camera?
Well, I was like I said before, like in theatre, everything's much bigger in the sense that not over dramatic in a way, but more like your facial expressions need to be slightly bigger because you're playing to an audience that is sitting so far away from you. Whereas if you've got a camera in your face, the smallest of things that you can your face will get picked up. And I find that when you're doing television, everything is just much smaller, and it doesn't have to be as emphasized. I do want to jump back to something you said before. Have you ever performed in the Round?
I have, yes. I've only done it once, but yes, it was, another musical, actually. For someone who was like, I'm not a big musical person.
I don't like musicals.
I've only spoken about musicals. I can't remember what it's called. I'm terrible. It's the roller skating one. That's going to bug me.
God.
You know exactly.
Well, can I tell you mine?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, okay. Well, I did Les Miserables.
Okay.
And that was amazing. It was it was a college production actually, so it was amateur. I was studying musical theatre at the time, and we did it in the Round. I was playing Marius, and it was one of the best, college productions I'd done, and I really, really loved it. Being able to going around the audience, and everywhere you looked, there was someone there. And I remember specifically doing Eponine's death, A Little Fall of Rain, right in the center of it all. And it was such a moment. And it was actually in that moment, ironically, not ironically, but interestingly, I had started to learn from a tutor of mine at college, and I used to sing the songs, and the acting would come a little bit later. But it was in this sort of moment I learnt in the rehearsals for this show that the acting needs to come through a lot more in the songs. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that the singing should be good, but when it needs to be dramatic, the singing can come down a little bit, or you can use the emotion in your voice to carry the story as well as sing the songs.
Yeah, you sort of,
that moment was amazing.
You do a lot more character voice, I think, especially in musicals. Like, I think we're talking about musicals, but when you're singing, like you say, you know, in the quieter parts, you are typically doing a lot more character than singing.
Yeah.
And no, you're absolutely right. Like you've got to be bigger. You've got to be more dramatic. You've got to use your hands more. You've got to use your facial expressions more. How you stand, your posture. It has to be a bit more exaggerated. Because you've got to, the people in the back have got to be able to see, hear you, and enjoy the.
Yeah,
show.
I mean they pay just as much as the people in the front, or in a lot of cases. So everyone should be getting the same level of performance. And I think it's not necessary. It's not being more dramatic. It's not. It's just making those movements slightly larger, or like making sure that your facial expression can be seen. And it can come across in even like pauses as well, like the silence between the words that can do the most. Yeah, and I love theatre for that. It's amazing.
Yeah, and
But
you've got a
there's loads of elements as well. There's loads of elements to theatre. There's the lighting, there's music, there's smoke machines, there's the performance itself. That like, everyone comes together to create this amazing thing, and it's just fantastic.
It's like a big family. I think. Like when I've done performances, it's like a big family. You know, the crew, the cast, everyone. You know, lighting, sound, everyone's in it together, and it's there's a part of me that's like, well, it's like an orchestra that the director has put in place and hopes that it all goes as planned, you know. I think it is beautiful. I think stage is such a magical thing. If anyone, because I think there are actors who are sort of coming up in the industry who purely just want to do TV and film, and totally fine. There's nothing against that. I think. Do I think you almost have to? No. But do I think it would be absolutely beneficial? Yes. To just do some stage work, like learn stage work. Do as much stage work as you can, because ultimately it's a lot easier. And I found this. It's a lot easier being theatre trained and going into TV than it is TV going into theatre trained, because you've got to project your voice a lot more. There's a lot more physicality to it. You know. You don't have the reliance of, oh, let's cut, let's try that again. You know, you've got to be on it, right?
Yeah.
And so
totally thinking.
yeah. So I've spoken to actors who came from TV, went into stage, and they've had a harder time than sort of I've experienced going the other way. Because I think and yourself as well, really. But I think both of us, we were, I mean, especially at uni, our main sort of focus was stage. You know, stage training, stage performance. So that's kind of where we sort of honed our craft, so to speak. Yeah. I mean, there's a beautiful photo on the internet somewhere of you as a 10-year-old boy when we did Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, when we did Lord of the Flies.
And that was really good. You know, we were we were all like 19, 20 years old, and we had to shave every part of our body to look youthful.
I mean, I loved that show. I loved it. It was amazing. It was so. I've never been in a play that was so choreographed as well. Like there were moments where we were building what was supposed to be a fire out of chairs, and we had to rehearse to the point where we needed to know the formation of each chair and where it would go, so that this thing could be formed properly.
Yeah. It wasn't just like stacking chairs on each other. It was like we had to create a jigsaw puzzle, take it apart, and recreate it. And I think our director, we must have done it 20, 30 times. The first day that we did it, like we put it together, took it apart, put it together, took it apart, and he wanted us to be able to do it in our sleep, essentially. To create this.
We were all in charge of like 1 or 2 chairs.
Yeah.
And there was an order. Everyone had to put one in at different times and build this thing, and it would just appear in front of you, and it was amazing.
Yeah, and it wasn't in like a 30-second montage. It happened over the course of like a good 5 minutes in some cases. You know, like things would be said, and then chairs would be added as the scene is outgoing, right? And I remember this as well, like it had to be structurally sound because people were moving inside of it and outside of it and going round it and through it. And it was a really good experience. And I think as well, like it was very, what we say is minimalistic, I guess. Like obviously there was an element of there was costume, and we had, you know, all the other props and stuff like that. But like from a set point of view, it was shadows. You know, and
It was
that I
playing with
kind of
light.
loved. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was playing with lighting. That's how we created set using different lighting and shadows and sort of an element of puppetry. Though I wouldn't necessarily think you'd consider it puppetry, but sort of that that element. And I think that was really interesting.
I was actually just thinking there was bloody there was so much stuff going on. Like we created fake blood out of strawberry
Oh God, yeah.
washed up liquid and paint, or sort of like something like that, because it needed to be washed away very easily. And bless him, one of our friends, Jack, had to get absolutely drenched
Covered
in the stuff,
every single day for about a week.
and it got slippy as well. It got slippy.
I think you nearly fell, didn't you?
I think
Was
so.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were doing a live performance, and I saw your foot go because I was right next to you.
It was so
And
close.
to be fair, I don't think anyone noticed other than the cast, but like, because you managed to secure yourself and continue talking, which was pretty impressive. But like, and actually, I think we had a friend in the audience that night who was like, "Oh no, I didn't see you slip," and we were like, oh, "Thank God for that." But like, you've got to be on it, and I think that's what's so beautiful about theatre is you can be creative with it, and you've got to be creative with it, whether that is creating set, whether that's creating costume, whether that's props and sort of special effects and stuff like that, whether that is in the round, whether that is Brechtian or Stanislavski or whatever that might be. You can be. I don't know. I think there's something more impressive about a theatre production that makes you go wow than a TV show that makes you go wow.
Well, no, I agree. I think it makes whenever I come away from the theatre and I've seen something, whether it be a musical or it be a play, I've always said like, oh, I would have loved to have been in that production. But I think I'd love to be able to play with stuff. Because the fun thing you get to when you're devising your own piece, or when you're putting on a play yourself, and you've got a director that's collaborative, you can play with how it runs and the tone of it. And I liked this when we were doing Orphans, actually, by Dennis Kelly. I believe it's Dennis Kelly. Yeah, it was Dennis Kelly. We basically there's so much in that script where it's like. You run to the end of a sentence, you don't finish it, and there's a dash. The next person starts speaking, they get cut off. And we decided, because that's so clunky in places, because someone's going to be like, just right, we decided there were certain segments that would actually be better in drama-wise if they were spoken over the top of each other, because what they're having is an argument, and when you have an argument, or at least even when we discuss things, we don't necessarily stop and then the next person starts talking. Sometimes there's overlap. So what we did, you are terrible for that. But you'd run to the end of a sentence, and then before you got necessarily to the end, the next person would start, and then a cacophony of sound would come over. And I think that was really, really interesting. The idea that you can play with the script ever so slightly and create more drama and more suspense. I liked that. That was really good.
You're creating your own little version of that moment, right? And you're doing it through sound and through body language and through voice and set and I think there's something beautiful about theatre, and I think everyone should do at least a bit of theatre, even if you're not that interested in it. I think you absolutely should get involved in theatre, because I think it shows you, and not only sort of on the stage stuff, but off the stage stuff, it gives you a lot of respect for the creatives that are making the sets, that are doing the lighting, that are doing the doing the sound.
Working hard.
And actually from a networking point of view, they're great people to know. If you are if you're starting your own production of something, they're great people to call on. I've got a few roles out of knowing someone in the crew. I mean, we've got a friend who went down to London a couple of years ago and did big production in London. They're good connections to have, and I don't know. I mean, from my experience, maybe you've got a slightly different one, because you've worked with. We'll just name drop here. You've worked with the BBC. But I don't think you get that. There's more of a divide between cast and crew on TV and film, I think. Or at least that's my experience.
On the set, everyone's got their job and they do it well. the thing is, I think there's a lot of in theatre, everyone sees each other, everyone's going through the process exactly the same time, whereas there's, on set there are runners, and there are, I mean, not only to mention like script editors, script writers, directors, producers, people that aren't even on the set sometimes, but there is it's more, I'm not going to say focused, but it's like they're on a schedule.
It feels more professional, which is also, I think, is the wrong terminology, but it feels not structured, but it feels a bit more cut and dry, and let's go to the next one, let's do the next thing.
It's getting the shots in the can. Whereas I think in theatre you're training your body and training your mind to do this thing for a set amount of time in a set place, and you've got to be focused on that. Whereas and obviously they're just different skill sets, and that doesn't make either one worse or better than the other. They're just different skill sets, I think. Yeah,
and I mean, it's because I think with TV and film, right, you're chasing the sun a lot of the time, or if you're in a studio, you're the crew are paying for that time to have it in that space or whatever. Whereas when you're in a theatre, it's, hey, look, this play runs from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. That's the time frame that you've got.
You know when it's finishing.
Like you have a start and end date. Whereas like TV and film, you don't get that. So like I feel like there's a bit of a rush with TV and film to an element.
It's getting it in the can. It's like sometimes there's overpay, like overtime pay if you're there for longer than you need to be or should be. But like it's getting everything in the can and ready to go. That's not to say that it's rushed. It's just they're focused and they've got a schedule and they'll get it done. Yeah. Whereas in the theatre, it's all planning up until the final part
and then it's go.
You do it.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel? So we talked at the start of this conversation about how every show feels slightly different depending on the audience. How do you feel when I say the word energy levels? I think we've all been in a performance where we've thought the audience's energy level is down, and that can really affect your performance, actually. Like, and even though there's no expectation from the audience to be like, high energy and get you pumped, but it certainly it has an effect on you. Like, if you like, and you don't typically know it until that first. It's normally like a joke or like a line that in rehearsals gets a laugh, or you've had a laugh in the past or something like that, and you say it and it's just silent, and it totally can throw you off. Like, and that can really sort of affect your nerves and how you word the rest of the show, because then there's a fear of like, oh right, if I sort of play on the jokiness of my next bit, is it gonna be the same? Are they just gonna like deadpan silence, or do I play it down a little bit so that I don't look like an idiot on stage? And and you'll get directors who say read the script how it's read. You'll get some directors who go, you need to feel it out in the moment. Yeah. But it can really affect you. So how do you combat that? What do you have any tips? Is there, and I guess I'm talking about nerves as well, but like, how do you deal with energy in the room?
I think I just treat it as it comes. And I've never. I do find that there's a difference between a matinee audience and an evening performance audience. There is a difference, and I don't know why it is, but they seem to be. Sometimes matinee performances are a little bit quieter.
I think it's an excitement thing. So I think for an evening show, people are going out. They might have some food before or after the show. It's an experience. Whereas I feel like a matinee is like, I got a cheap deal on a matinee. Like,
I think,
and that's not a bad thing. But I think it's more of they've gone to watch a show in the afternoon, whereas in the evening they've gone for an experience. And I think in the evening shows are a lot more willing to get involved because of that experience. Now I don't know. That's simply just my own theory. But I know that. I mean, I'd always get dressed up for the theatre, but I definitely have a set thought process of that. If I was going to an evening performance, I'd wear nicer clothes. I don't know why, but
now you're getting into a different kind of thing for me here, because I think that. Well, you're talking about dressing up, and I don't think theatre etiquette has necessarily been on the up and up recently.
No, I feel that.
I do. I've sat next to people who've just brought a takeaway into the theatre.
Oh, really? Ooh.
Yeah, and I think
Okay.
that people. You know what? You know what? I'm going on a tangent here. You know, I've seen a lot of. I go and see a lot of theatre. I see the musicals and stuff. But when I can't go and see jukebox musicals anymore because I quite like to.
People
Because
sing.
I quite like. I don't like the singing. I just don't like it, and that's my opinion. I don't know. I want. I mean, I would stay silent.
I enjoy, and we're going really off topic with stage, but actually, I'm going ironically back to musicals. But like when they show musicals in the theater, in the cinema now, I enjoy that they have sing-along shows and non-sing-along shows.
Dedicated
Like
ones.
and that's only come about in the last sort of 5 years. I've not really seen that before, and so it's interesting to see how. And I think that takes it back to. That can happen, as you said, in theatre as well. That's not just not just in cinema. You know, there will be. And actually, sort of, and just to sort of double down on this point, when I was lucky enough to go to New York and watch some shows in New York on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was really nice. But it's a totally different feel over there. Totally different.
Yes, it is.
And I'm not going to say anything negative, but I'm glad I'm in the UK.
I mean,
I didn't. It's a weird one, right? And I think it's not like a bad thing. I think it caught me really off guard. So when I went to see these performances in the UK, obviously, like when a big moment happens, you know, or the finish of a song, you know, you get a round of applause, you know, the classic stuff. I found in America every single scene got a round of applause.
Oh, really?
Every time a character came on or left a scene, they got a round of applause, which was really sort of. It kind of dragged me out of. I'd start getting into it and then be dragged immediately out of it because there was a round of applause, and to the point where sometimes there'd be a standing ovation, and like you'd have to stand up to continue to see the scene, and the actors would stop on stage to allow the clapping to take place, and then continue. And that was a really weird experience, and that's all that I've only seen that in America.
That's really odd.
It's strange for a UK production. I mean, I was lucky enough to go. Like we got it on Theatre Tix, which is an app if people know. It's really good. You can get really cheap deals. I was lucky enough to go to about 10 different shows, both a mixture of musicals and plays. And it was a very similar experience. I thought first one I went to was. So it was 1789. It was about the American Revolution, and every time they mentioned anything about the independence, they'd, you know, like, you know. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just this one. And then every other show was exactly the same. Of like, it was really high energy, which is great, and you could see the performers were loving it, you know. But like, yeah, just every time someone left or entered the scene, they got a round of applause, and that was a really weird experience. When you are touring, when you're going and doing these different things, like it's gonna be different, you know. And it can be different city to city as well. You know, what lands in one city might not land culturally in another city.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
You know?
That's it.
Like when I did some shows around West Yorkshire for Chicago, and once again, a musical feels very, for someone who said I'm not I'm not interested in musicals. Everything is a musical. Also, Starlight Express was the roller skating musical.
Oh,
and
was it?
Wow. I remembered it, and I had to acknowledge that I remembered it. Otherwise,
okay.
But yeah,
very upset.
I'd be very upset. But yeah, Chicago, and that was really interesting. So we did it in Halifax, Huddersfield, Leeds, and Manchester. I know Manchester's not in West Yorkshire, but. By the way, yeah. I just wanted to address it.
Okay,
but no, it was really, really different. Like jokes and comments that landed in Leeds didn't land in Halifax, or vice versa, and that was very interesting. You know, or the portrayal of you know, lewd women, you know, coming out and seducing men. No, but like. In Halifax, that got really big. Woo! You know, like they were excited about it. They got involved. They obviously sort of they were okay with that. And in Leeds, like silence. Like not that they weren't okay with it, but it was clearly something that they didn't deem as sort of socially acceptable to sort of celebrate. They enjoyed the performance, and but like, and that's really interesting, and that can totally throw you off, and that can totally change your own sort of perception of what you're doing, I think. And I've definitely had audience members come up to me after a show. Some people like to go outside the stage door, and I've had people go, I didn't like you, and I'm like, oh, okay,
all right,
thanks. And they're like, no, I didn't like your character. But it's such a weird thing for someone to go up to you outside a performance and be like, I didn't like you. But like, and you can take that in two ways, right? You can take that in like, oh, that's a shame. Or the way that I like to take it is, I clearly did such a good job of portraying that character as like a horrible person. That they couldn't see it any other way, and I think for me that is a big part of why I do theatre, because not to like freak people out, but like to connect and actually portray a character so honestly that it affects someone, and that could be that could be the hero in the story, that could be the villain, like whatever that is. But I think there's some performances that have stuck with me in theatre, and I think that is something that I really enjoy as a part of it. Comedies, I prefer a comedy in theatre than I do film. It feels more like a stand-up, and I think that's why.
I can agree with that. I mean, when I saw One Man, Two Governors,
what a show!
Amazing. Experiencing the laugh live, I think is superior to seeing it recorded. Recorded.
I love a dark comedy. Hangman is also another great one, which I really enjoy. I know it's not comedy, but Trainspotting, classic. That's a brilliant show. We were lucky enough to get to go see that in Edinburgh, weren't we?
We did. We saw that in Edinburgh.
So that was really, really good. But yeah, no, I think the genre of your performance can be impacted by the fact it's on stage or not. I don't think horror is done very well on stage. Now that may just be my personal opinion, but I think horror works better in film. I've never gone and seen a horror performance that's made me go, oh, that was scary. I've enjoyed it, but like I've never been scared per se.
I think
theatre production.
I don't think horror necessarily works in theatre. I mean, I enjoyed The Woman in Black when I went to see it. Okay. But I think suspense is really good in theatre.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Suspense is good in theatre. Yeah. Like we went to go see a Ghost Stories play. Oh yeah. And the room was just silent, and the way they did it was fantastic. The suspense works. But I mean, if you're looking for like a what they call like a jump scare, if you're looking for a jump scare, that's television, that's film. But if you want suspense, I think theatre is king. Okay. I think, in my opinion, anyway.
For me, it shows how important theatre is to both of us.
Oh yeah.
We haven't even got into any of the topics of like stage combat. Or or anything like that. There's so many other things that we could have talked about. Nerves and pre-show rituals that you do. Do you have a? Sorry, I need to ask. Do you have a pre-show ritual? Is there anything that you do beforehand?
I mean, I normally go to the loo.
So I always need to have some food. Some people can't eat before performance. I always need to eat. I always need to have, and I always need to be full. And I walk around in a circle 7 times as my character.
That's interesting.
That's what I do.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, that's so every time before I first go on stage for my first scene, I will walk around 7 times as the characters walk.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
It helps me get into that mindset.
No, I don't really have anything. I just I can't eat before a performance. I cannot eat. I don't know what it is. I just can't. I always need to go to the loo. I want to make sure I'm completely empty when I'm going on the stage. Yeah, no, I don't have anything. But that is really interesting
Yeah.
that you do that. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that sort of you develop to get into character or to assist, and not everyone needs them, but yeah, I think I'd feel weird if I didn't do it now. From my understanding, you have told me to prepare a lovely a possible stage production from a historical event. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've done that. I've come away with one, and
Excellent.
I believe you have too. Well, you started. You started last time.
Okay. So, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm happy to go. So I need to now find it back.
Oh, I mean, look, I can go. You know, I'm just prepared.
No.
That's all I'm.
I've got it,
That's
I've
all
got
I'm
it,
gonna say.
I've got it. So this one I found really, really interesting. Right.
Okay.
So I looked this up and I found that the United States Air Force, right, had a secret plan in the 1950s, right,
Okay.
and it was called Project A119.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the plan was to send a nuclear bomb to the moon.
Okay. I feel like I know this. But...
I feel you, of course you know.
Sorry.
Right.
No. But like, but also this sounds
Okay.
so alien to me. Okay.
It was obviously cancelled, right? But the primary motivation for doing it was basically to show Russia, the USSR, the Soviets, that they could, right?
Okay.
And basically, they had scientists working around the clock to figure out how big the mushroom cloud would be so that the Soviets could see it, right? And it was just a show of force.
So the Soviets would see it. Okay.
And essentially, what happened was they said, "We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that," and the plan was to detonate the warhead on the Terminator, the border between the light and dark sides of the moon.
So you got
On the near side,
So you got the yeah.
yeah, so the sun would illuminate the dust cloud and make it visible from Earth. And then it was ultimately cancelled for fears that it would look bad to the rest of the world. That basically, they were. I've lost my train of thought. So they thought it would look bad, and basically they thought, well, actually, you know what? Instead of blowing up the moon or sending a nuke up there, why don't we just go to it? So they scrapped it, and then they started. Then obviously the space race started.
It's such a my stick's bigger than your stick.
Yeah.
So how would you make that into would you make it into a stage performance? Like how would
I
how
think
would you
you
do
could. I think you
Okay.
could, but I don't know whether or not it's gonna be suspenseful or drama, or whether you play it for laughs and it's a
it?
comedy.
Yeah, I'd make it a comedy. That's such a comedy
I
for
think
me.
you might have to.
Like that for me that screams comedy. You get a lot of innuendos in there as well, and I don't know why
Yeah.
it's my mindset, but like I think that's quite a funny thing. You know, you could do a lot with mushroom clowns.
Yes, you could like
Yeah,
stuff like that.
But
yeah.
like I definitely think that is a
or
comedy.
to take it further, what if we did a play based around this, but they actually do it? And what would then happen after?
Oh, like an alternate history. Oh, okay.
So if you do like, so
Ooh.
not necessarily like well, they didn't do it, but you said that they did it, and then this is what happens afterwards.
Like what I don't know what that Netflix show is with Leonardo DiCaprio, where that meteor comes and no one believes them. Like that, don't look up, like that kind of vibe, like a political thriller kind of situation.
Like what happens next after the Americans send up a nuclear bomb to the moon, and obviously doesn't blow it up, but like what happens? What's the world's reaction? How did the Soviets respond? How does this happen? How does this happen? You know.
Ooh, interesting. So you could almost have like two storylines going in tangent. You could have like the Americans and the Soviets, and like you keep cutting between them.
So like you've got two thoughts on this. You can either do comedy, make it a comedy, make it funny. Look at this ridiculous thing that almost happened, or you do it, and we deal with the consequences and see what happens.
I like it. I'd still play it for laughs because I see that as a really funny comedy, and like I like the idea that it's like kind of a comedy of errors that leads them to be like, look, let's not do that. Let's just go to the moon.
I think, yeah, but then you can make it a musical as well.
A musical about blowing up the moon. Excellent. I love it.
I
Yes.
just think it's an interesting idea.
You've sold me on it.
Good.
Done.
Yeah.
That's all I needed. What would you call
It's
it?
a musical comedy or it's a thriller.
A musical
I don't know.
comedy. I like it. What would you call your musical comedy or political thriller?
Oh, I don't know.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
I was thinking like Bombs Away. Or
Geronimo.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's got to be something funny though, hasn't it?
Countdown to Crisis. No.
Oh, I don't know. That feels too like on the nose.
Oh, Moon Boom. Moon Boom.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Moon
Moon Boom.
Moon Boom. I like it. It's punchy.
Well, I've got.
I've just heard this new musical. It's called Moon Boom.
Do you want to go see Moon Boom?
I would love to see Moon Boom.
I think if someone came up to me on the street and said, "Do you want to go see Moon Boom?" I think I'd run away as quickly as I could.
No, I think
Or you go, sure, wherever this man from the Fey realm is gonna take me, sure.
Moon Boom. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I've gone very different. So I've gone tragedy.
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
So the name, the Hostage Prince, right? So it's about Vlad the Impaler, or Vlad Tepes,
Right.
who obviously is the inspiration for Dracula.
Yeah.
And it's not a vampire story. I don't want it to be a vampire story. It's instead a tragedy of a young boy who grows up very wealthy, very privileged, but in a hostile court, and the brutality of the world turns him into something that men would later fear and create a legend out of. So that's the vibe, right? So I'm thinking, so as a boy, Vlad and his brother Rondu are sort of taken hostage by the Ottoman Empire. They're taken into the court. They're raised very, very well. They're allowed to roam the palace as they need to, but they're not allowed to leave. And they're educated, and they're brought up with tutors around them. They're taught, etiquette. They're taught sword play, and Radu really takes to this, and he actually sort of starts to embed himself in Ottoman culture and stuff like that. Vlad hates it. Like he is he wants to go back to Wallachia. He wants to go back to his homeland, and there's this clash between brothers. So I'm thinking, in like the style of Hamlet. That's the kind of setting. That's the kind of political, tragedy.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've got a vision for it. So you've 3 acts. Act 1 in the palace. Act 2, his rebellion, his escape, and then Act 3, him taking the throne of Wallachia and sort of becoming Vlad the Impaler, right?
Right.
And I like the idea. And I've thought no more about it other than that would be a cool concept. But the bit that is what I want to try and sell it to you is my vision of this is every single scene, the stage, the set comes in slightly and makes it feel more claustrophobic. So every single scene, every single progression that we make, the world feels so big to Vlad, and then eventually the final scene is him sat on the throne of Wallachia, boxed in and alone, and just this dark embodiment of what people think is evil. And just around him are the spikes and heads of his enemies, and that's all it is. And I don't know how you portray it, but I kind of like the idea of that every scene it gets more claustrophobic. The actors have to be a bit more strategic with what they're doing because they've got a smaller set to play with.
Yeah.
And eventually it's sort of yeah. I don't know. Eventually it's just Vlad on the throne. In his final monologue, as he sits down and takes it, and it's a 5 foot by 5 foot area that you can work with. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Be creative with it.
I'm just thinking that's a really interesting idea. I'm actually thinking, could you do it with sort of like perspective.
Yeah.
Is there a way you can like, if you put like a cone, or like it this way or that way? There's something
sort of angle it. Like and yeah, I think that there is absolutely something there. But like I say, I essentially I want it to feel by the end of the play, I want it to feel claustrophobic. I want him to look and feel alone, and be yeah. I guess with like be the focal point. You know, he becomes the embodiment of the legend. Like he's not a vampire, but he becomes the thing that people turn into the legend, and I really like that idea. You know.
Well, now you're saying you don't want it to be a vampire story, but I really love the idea that instead of it being like he's surrounded by all these heads on spikes because that's his thing. Isn't it?
Yeah.
But the final sort of like part of the set, the smallest part of the set, is a coffin.
Oh,
or
okay.
a wooden box.
So what you like sort of allude to it.
Yeah, you allude to it at the end, because you've got to have a bit of flavor, a bit of vampire flavor.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So there's the actually, I mean, historically, the reason why people thought he was a vampire is because him and his army, when they're fighting the Ottomans, come over the ridge, and the sun is setting behind them, and Vlad's army is smaller than the Ottomans' army, and so he devised this plan. So historically they used pigeons as like fire carriers. So they would light small fuses to pigeons and let them fly, and they would nest in enemy campsites and things like that. And burn them. They didn't, for whatever reason, they couldn't get their hands on enough pigeons, but there was a cave nearby, so they used bats.
Right.
And so the Vlad's army is stood on the ridge, and as night is falling, they release these bats, and so the Ottoman soldiers believed that Vlad's army had just turned into bats, which is where we get vampires can turn into bats from.
That's really cool.
So there could be a really cool scene of like Vlad sitting on his throne, it's just him, and then behind him, like bats fly over his head or some stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, but that I think that could be a really cool moment, to sort of just historically show that.
Yeah, I really like that.
But I sort of imagine, not necessarily Shakespearean, but like in the vein of Hamlet, in the vein of like Henry III, Henry V, stuff like that. Those sort of plays where they are very big monologues. They're individuals.
Gothic?
Yeah, very gothic. Yeah, very gothic. Very gothic. But I like the idea that it starts off as not gothic. It's like light and beautiful and palaces, and slowly the world shrinks and becomes dark and gloomy and like a cage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the end we're just sat with Vlad all alone on his throne.
I really like that. I do think that the box needs to come in some way as the smallest piece set for him. Like, in some way, I think that would be a really interesting idea.
Okay, I like it. I'm not. Like I say, it's not a vampire. I didn't want it to be a vampire story, but it's like an Easter egg. I don't mind that. But yeah, I think it's nice.
Yeah, just a nice little touch, I think, because ultimately that is what his legacy becomes.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
And ultimately, that's kind of what I want to represent that. So I think maybe you're right. Maybe something bats or coffins or something like that. But yeah. So yeah, that's my elevator pitch for the hostage prince. That's my stage pitch.
Okay, I really like it. Yeah, it's good though. Yeah, I'd buy it.
I do you know what? I had a really fun time actually. Because I was like, okay, like the story's great, but like anyone can just like do a Shakespearean knockoff of a political thing. I was like, what can you make that interesting? I was like, okay, the world becomes a cage. Cool. Got it.
Yeah.
So and I think it goes on to what we've been talking about earlier, is like you can be very creative with your practical effects, and like you can get interesting, and that's what's great about theatre. So Lloyd, do you want to introduce the script and who it's by?
Yes, of course. So we have a script from James Kersey, who's an author, a playwright, script writer, So we're going to be reading this one. We don't know anything about it. All I can see from the start of it is that it's a jetty in the evening, and there are two characters, Sam and Rowan.
Okay.
And which one do you want to do?
I'll take Sam if you take the stage directions, and obviously the other character. I'll do both. I'll do both
We making a
characters.
deal. Like this isn't a bargain. I'll take Sam if you do the stage directions. Right.
I'll do Sam. No, it's just because he speaks first.
Oh yeah, you want?
Yeah,
okay,
I just want the opening line.
Right. So okay, I will start then, and I'll start the stage directions. You ready?
Cool.
Right.
Scene.
Jetty. Evening. The waves crash along the shore, shaking a small boat tied to a wooden jetty. Rowan stands looking out on the endless sea, eyes red raw. Sam rushes down the hillside towards the jetty.
Rowan, thank God. Oh, thank God. The whole town's looking for you.
Are they?
They're all over the fields. Even the young lads are out there.
Uncomfortable silence.
So, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Right, okay. Because it kind of looks like you're trying to get into a boat.
Do you imagine what things will be like? Like a vision of your whole life? A future partner, future house, kids, your perfect job, getting old?
Yeah, I think everyone does.
I don't see that. I don't envisage that. See it?
What? Okay.
I don't feel it. I can't see myself in 20 years. I can't see myself in 20 days.
I mean, that doesn't matter. Look,
Of course it matters. Everyone's got dreams. It's what's supposed to keep you going, right? It's what keeps everyone going through this rigor of life every day. Waking up every day, and because of that thing in 20 years, that'll make your life worth it. And just don't feel it.
surely you
What's your goal?
well, you know what it is.
What is it?
Well, it's to take over the bakery. You know? Yeah, it's to take over the bakery.
And that keeps you going.
Yeah.
I don't have a bakery. I don't have anything that I care about.
Surely there must be something.
I'm not driven at all.
Well, I can't drive either, so...
I'm not joking.
No, I'm sorry. Rory. No, I'm sorry. You know, I just can't, I just can't resist.
That's because you're funny. That's what you are. You were made to make people laugh and love you, and that's my point. You have things to do. I have nothing. Give me 3 fun facts about myself. Nothing.
We saw that sunset on Tuesday on the hill. I saw your face. You loved it.
I can't keep pushing on for sunsets.
Well, others push on for a lot less.
Well, I can't.
Well, what will you do then?
Well, I thought I might just sail. See where the tide takes me?
In that small thing?
I'll manage.
You're really going to leave this island? I don't even know how far the mainland is. And you can't even steer something like that.
I'll get there.
You'd really leave this beautiful place?
if all it offers is sunsets, then yeah.
And you trying to get all the way to the mainland?
Yes.
What, to give yourself something to live for?
I hope so.
Then you're the most driven person I know. Lovely. I quite like that.
That was deep.
That was intense. I started that off being like, where have you been? And then it was like, oh, I'm sad. And I was like, oh, I've come into this really hard. I was like,
well, I saw that.
I need to dial back. I need to be this emotional, like, yes, I'm here for you. Like,
For me, I saw the stage direction. It says red and what does his eyes say? Red and wary. I can't remember now. It's gone now. But I saw that and I was like, right, okay. He's suddenly in a jet. He's in a jetty for some reason, and his eyes are red and weary. And I thought, okay, I feel like I can get the tone already from what this is going to be.
See, I sort of, and very similar, I took the stage direction that Sam rushes down the hill. So I came into it with like a, whoa, what are you doing? That sort of energy. And do you know what? I think that felt fairly real, actually, of like that awkwardness of like you talk to your friend and then suddenly it becomes really real all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that at all. No, I very much enjoyed that. I'm interested. The bit at the end, I'm very interested that we're on an island. That we don't know. We don't know how far the mainland is. Is that right now? And I am just speculating here. Is that because we don't know how far the mainland is? Like we're on an island that we don't know of, or is it two young teenagers who are just going, I don't even know how far the mainland is,
No, see, for me, it feels as if there's something ominous about this island.
That's what I took away, yeah.
And I tell you what, now this is going to sound terrible, but I started watching Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget.
As you do on a casual,
I've seen it. No, I mean, I've seen it before. It's a great film. The point is that it's about a young chicken wanting to get off the island and go back to the mainland where her parents were from, not knowing the danger that all like the chicken pie people are all like there, right? And stay with me on this. The logic is that I think there's something to do with that island being ominous. The way he says this beautiful island. I think there's something weird about it. And
sorry,
I think there's a correlation.
I'm just checking to see if it's the same author.
James Kersey.
Wrote
Nugget.
But no, like I think, I mean, I get where you're coming from. I think, there's an element of, I definitely took away that there's something ominous about that.
Yeah, about the island.
There's something ominous about the island, and I feel like.
But Sam lets him go.
Seemingly, yeah. I mean, obviously we don't see Rowan sail off into the sunset, but like. Yeah, he seems to back down a little bit, doesn't he?
It's a bit Truman Show.
Ooh,
to me,
bit
Truman Show. Ooh. Have you seen it?
Yeah. No, you mean when they sit on the bridge and like they're talking about it and the friend is no, you should stay. Like don't be so.
Trying to get him to turn it around. Yeah. Like what's in Fiji? What's out there? Why do you want to go there so much? We got everything we need right here. And it's like that's the feeling I got from that.
Yeah, I got there's something ominous. I definitely got the something ominous. Whether that's because the situation that Rowan is putting himself is dangerous and probably reckless, and probably doing it because of how he feels, or is that because there's something just not quite right? And if you had to place this scene in if say. I don't know if this is from a full production or just an extract, but say it is a full play. Where would you put this scene? So for me, this feels like the spark. This feels like the inciting incident. You know what I mean?
It's like it's the start. It's like the protagonist, in this case, Rowan. In this case, Rowan wants to go somewhere. He wants to start his journey. He wants to leave. He wants to achieve a goal. And it seems like this is the first time he's actually going to set his mind to doing it. And it seems like it's something he's been wanting to do for a while, because he's been talking about like his goals and his aspirations, and he's been mulling it over.
Yeah, he's clearly been thinking about it. But I think as well, like it feels very much like the hero's journey vibe. You know, of like that moment where they cross the threshold. You know, into whatever that may be. You know, the moment of no turning back.
Are you thinking like when Sam stops just outside the Shire in Lord of the Rings? He's like, "This is the furthest I've ever been from home."
I've never been this far from home.
Yeah.
Very very similar. That's the vibe I'm kind of getting, and I would be very interested if we were to read on and see another part of this. Does Sam go with Rowan,
or is Sam either like part of the problem?
Yeah.
And he wants him to stay, or is Sam
joins him? You know.
Is Sam going to join him?
Yeah. Well, that was the jetty, I guess. That was the first line.
I mean,
that was the first line of the script.
It's from James. It's from James Kersey.
Thank you very
I
much,
thought
James.
it was really good.
I think that's a nice place to close.
Yes, we shall close there.
Thank you for having me on, Lloyd. I appreciate the airtime that you've given me.
That's all right. You'll be lucky to get on the next one.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah.
But no.
Oh.
Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we hope you have a wonderful, whatever time of day you're listening to us. Wonderful night, evening, good morning, good evening, good night, as the Truman Show would say.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
my god.
Tie it all in. Woo!
Right. Thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.
You have been listening to Off Script. Off Script is presented by Ben Sharp and Lloyd Mitchell. Edited by Ryan Krogan. Executive producers for Minus Village Productions, Ryan Krogan and Josh Dixon.